morning. Thanks for joining this Q&A. Hope everyone is having a good day so far. I am just going to wait for my friend Vanessa. Okay, let's see, how do I do this? Okay. Let's see. There you are. Yay, hi.
Morning.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, here. It's like a whole day has gone by already, right? How's it going today, Miley?
It's good. We actually had a little snowstorm last night again.
Yeah. Soon enough, it'll be over, right?
I know. Help, I just need my son. I actually put out my lounge chair and I started laying out a little bit, getting some UVB, and now it's covered in snow again.
Like your lounge chair with your snow around you. That was awesome. Love that. That is so cool. Yeah, I know. We've had like this rainy, cold week. It's been, I'm like, all right. I went in the sauna this morning, took a cold shower. I'm like, all right, I'll do my other strategies. Can't get out in the sun. Exactly.
We do our best. We do what we can do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm so excited to chat with you today about the questions we got for this reset challenge. Yeah, so or not challenge, but program. So yeah, so excited to chat with you about that. So yeah, let's get into it.
Awesome.
So one of the first questions we got was about parasite detoxes. And I actually really love this question because I did a para-wellness test and I was diagnosed with parasites, right? Of course, like when you go on the health journey, you diagnose with all the things, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I had parasites and I did herbs and I did coffee enemas and I passed a few parasites and I did all the protocols and blah, 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 blah. I never felt any better after doing that. So it wasn't until that I reduced my susceptibility, increased my energetic body by doing all of the circadian biology lifestyle things and just change. You're never going to change your susceptibility until you increase your energetic potential and you start changing your lifestyle.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to take these herbs, these parasite detoxes, and you're going to just continually go on a merry-go-round of continuing to get them. Or you can add in something like classical homeopathy, which is also what I've done too, which will help that. But you're never going to decrease that susceptibility. It'll just be this like horrible merry-go-round. So we're not going to give you any certain parasite detoxes, right, but we you how to increase your body's energetic potential so you are healthier, vital, so these things are not an issue. Because I honestly love this question so much because parasites we think are bad, but actually they have a body and they're not always all bad, and right, they're supposed to live symbiotically with these things. So it's a really interesting question. So yeah.
Well, and I also think that after you've sort of laid this really strong foundation, if someone feels like they want to do some type of a detox later, yeah, those things will work more efficiently.
Yes.
But there's so many things to it. And what we do, it helps, open those detox pathways. And we're really setting up that foundation for other things to be able to work well. I've got a cat clawing my arm here.
It's all good. Whatever you decide to implement after doing all the circadian biology practices and principles is only going to work much better, right? Yes. So those parasite detox protocols would have worked better for me and would have stuck, right? Maybe it would have, you know what I mean? So, did I lose you?
There. Okay. Got you back. Hopefully.
Oh, it was me who left?
I don't know. Oh. Well, you froze, but it could be my. This is mountain living. Really bad connection.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll teach your body how to be stronger and more resilient to these kinds of things, right? So that's what this main goal of this program is. And it's really good for any of that, whether it comes to parasites, whether it comes to mold, bacterial, stuck infections, all these kinds of things. The strategies that we teach you will support all of that.
Yep.
So yeah, it's good for, it doesn't matter what the pathogen is that you're dealing with, this program will support that. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And then another question we got is dairy off limits at first? And I'm going to say it totally depends. It totally depends on the individual. And we're not here to tell you, eat this or don't eat that. This is kind of, we're getting back to basics. Again, it goes back to the foundation. We're setting the foundation. So we will teach you how to eat with the seasons and how to eat in a circadian style or circannual style. So, meaning the entire year. But it's not going to be, you can't have this and you can have this, and we're not going to get into the nitty gritty of macros and things like that. That's just not, not what the aim is of this program. We can certainly get into those things if you want to work one-on-one and kind of get into those details, but yeah, and you're certainly welcome to ask questions about dairy. Some people do great with dairy. Other people don't do great with dairy. Some people are okay with raw dairy, and some people, can't do any of it at all, not even butter. So it really depends.
Yeah, it's a very, very nuanced question, right? Because everybody is an individual and depends on you and whether or not you tolerate it well. Because if you tolerate it well, dairy is a superfood, right?
Absolutely, especially raw dairy.
Especially raw dairy. And yeah, that's amazing if you can include it. But if you have symptoms, like if we say to you dairy is a superfood and you're like, all right, I'm going to go try some nice raw goat milk or some nice raw cheese, and you have a reaction, the dairy's not for you right now. And maybe it will be in the future. So it really is a very nuanced question. There was a time I had took dairy out of my diet for some time, but it's not like you have to take dairy out. We're never going to tell you have to. It's just, you got to decide for you what's working. Now I eat raw dairy and I love it. Right. But I mean, it's a individual and the person and where their healing is at in the moment. Right. So,
and it does go back to the whole point of this program, this lifestyle. I used to be lactose intolerant, and now I can actually tolerate a lot of raw dairy. I can even do a little pasteurized, but if I go overboard, then I end up, waking up inflamed. But it's just changing that. It's changing the environment that we live in, our internal environment. And I think that a lot of us find that we're able to tolerate things that we weren't able to tolerate before.
So true. So many things actually that I was not tolerating that I can tolerate now. And dairy is one of them. Although pasteurized dairy, again, I'm kind of the same. I can go a little bit, but if I go overboard on it, it's a problem. But I really just mainly focus on raw anyway. But it's just so interesting to have that. But yeah, I definitely have opened up my food availability to. There's a point where I was eating just meat, so I've definitely opened up that range of what I can tolerate, what I can eat. So yay to that, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. And so the other question I got was about like the days that we're going to do this, the weeks, the times, all of that, all of those like logistical kinds of questions. Like what day of the week will it be? What time will it be? And, so honestly, I think the best strategy that we decided when we did the last group was to connect with the ladies who joined us and the people who were in the community and the group and say, well, what works for everybody, and try to find a time that was accommodating for everybody, which we did. And then, it worked out. So we will set those parameters once we kind of have, who's in the group for sure. And, then we'll make some decisions based on that. And that seemed to work out really well. And if you miss one or two, everything is recorded and we send you the recording. So you will, if you miss a class or you miss one of the coaching sessions, there will be a recording that you can watch later on, and then you'll have it to watch. And then after you watch it, we are available for questions through the Telegram app. Right. So if you're like, I watched this session and I'm like, I have a question about red light therapy and how to use it, we can answer that question for you there in the community. So yeah, that was the question about that. So
yeah, good logistical stuff. Okay, and then another question: will this help me lose weight? And again, maybe it will. We know we have both experienced some weight loss, and we know lots of other people who have experienced weight loss using these principles and these strategies. But we're not going to sit here and say, yeah, absolutely, you're going to lose 10 pounds by doing this program for 3 months. It's just getting everything set up in your body to work the way that it's supposed to. So usually weight loss is actually a byproduct of health. So when you get your body healthy and everything is functioning the way that it should be functioning, or at least you're on your way to that point, that's when your body gets comfortable enough to say, okay, now we can let go of some of this extra, fat that we're storing. So
yeah, 100%. And strategies are strategies that you can use for life, and they're going to be just supportive to overall health in general. And when your overall health is thriving and better, you are going to have weight loss. Weight loss is the result of health, like you just said. Like, I love that. That's such a great saying, because it really is. And it'll just off when your body has all these foundations and it's working better. You'll have more melatonin, you'll get better sleep, you'll have more repair, more recovery throughout the day. You'll have better resilience to like exercise and stress and the stressors that you place on your body. All these things will improve, and weight loss will be just part of that whole package. And
Right.
we never want to say, oh, lose 10 pounds in 12 weeks. Like, we're not going to be like that, because that's not how life is. And it depends on you and your situation and where you're at and all the things. But usually when you change your lifestyle and give healthier habits to your body, the result will be some weight loss,
Right.
depending.
Right.
So
it's a happy side effect.
Exactly. And that's also because of the next question we got was, will this help balance my hormones? And if your hormones are more balanced, yes, the program will absolutely support hormone health, because all the things we talk about with light and energetic potential, increasing your redox, and all the things that we teach will absolutely support hormone health. And then that is usually when the hormones become more balanced, especially our master hormones like leptin, like cortisol, like melatonin, right? Which are downstream, which downstream hormones are estrogen, testosterone, all the other ones, right? Then of course we're going to have balanced hormones, and then we're going to have better weight loss. So it's all connected, right? We're all one body,
Exactly. Yeah, and actually that leads into another question. Somebody was asking, can I do this if I'm actually taking hormones? I think they're talking about HRT. And absolutely, you can absolutely do this. Everything that we teach, it doesn't matter if you're taking hormones, if you're taking medications, whatever it is, all of this is foundational. All of this is going to help with all of these things.
Yeah, and it'll help it work better. Like, especially like, I've been on like thyroid medication, and they had to go down on their thyroid medication after they do this, right? So like, whatever medications you're on, absolutely, you can still do this program. It's only going to enhance things and make your body function better. And then hopefully that will help you reduce your need for medication. I mean, maybe not. Everybody's situation is different, but that could be a good side effect possibly, right? So yeah. I got us about an exercise plan. Are you going to have like an exercise plan in this program? I'm here to tell you that to have balanced hormones and to have, health, you don't have to have like an intense exercise program. That's not what this is going to be about. It's not about like CrossFit, kill yourself, marathon running and all that. Like, I mean, listen, if you want to do those things, that's fine. And we'll teach you how and when, how to recover, when's the best timing of the day to be doing these exercises, when to, how to help your body recover from these kinds of things, which everything we teach will help you recover from exercise better. But there's no like intense exercise program needed for this stuff to be effective, which is great. I mean, I always recommend some sort of movement throughout the day, but not like an intense exercise program. So yeah, I think that's important for us to share, because it's just not necessary.
Well, and for some people, it can be detrimental. I was one of those people. I love running. I am an ultra runner, but I had to really, really back off my running and focus more on walking and hiking and things, because my cortisol was just crazy.
Right.
So sometimes those intense programs can actually work against you. And it doesn't mean never, but I actually, my son, he's learning these things too. And I tell him, you need to sort of use a sandwich approach, like be really supportive before, do your thing. And, he was racing. So, do your race, but then you have to really support your body with all these things that we teach on the other end, because otherwise you're just going to run yourself into a hole that's really, really hard to get out of. So yeah, we want to teach you all of the supportive strategies so that if and when you do decide to do something that's a little bit more intense, you can do it safely and hopefully keep your body a little bit more balanced, and also know when it's time to back off.
So huge. I'm a runner at heart too. I fell in love with running and was running marathons myself. I don't do that anymore now because I don't feel like that's really supportive for my body and my health. And I've learned that over the years, but I used to do the high intensity weight training workout at 5 a.m. in my blue lit gym. And, come after all day of teaching, like, I'm going for a run. And it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'd run like 3 miles, and then I'd stay up all night. Like, I really was the epitome of the, living on chronic cortisol kind of
Right.
pattern. And I've done it. I loved it. I loved it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just like the Energizer Bunny. And then I had a health crisis. So I know that was part of the issue, is living in that kind of lifestyle and just putting so much demand and stress on my body without ever giving rest and recovery. And then not knowing like all these other things that are actually stressors, like the earbuds in my ear, or the lights, the artificial lights in my body, or staying up late, or scrolling on my phone, or I used to read on my blue lit phone every night before bed, and I would stay up till like all hours of the night reading books on my phone, actual book, and all these lifestyle changes now make me more like resilient, and I can handle exercise better. Although I still don't think that for me, chronic cardio is a good idea. But yeah.
No, and I've seen it. Being a running coach, I would see with the people I was working with, they'd say, okay, I'm training for a marathon, but why am I gaining weight? Mm-hmm. It's a stressor. Even if we like it, even if we're having fun doing it, it's still a stressor. So,
and it's a stressor that you don't realize is stressful, because the endorphins get so high that you don't even realize you're off. Like, you just keep going, even though, because you're just in that adrenaline endorphin rush, and you don't even realize the body needs to stop,
Right.
And you come home after like that 12 miles, you're like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. You can't move for the entire day. Like, I've totally been there. Anyway, so yeah, we're not going to have this intense exercise program. We will teach you strategies about exercise, when what we recommend as well, and recovery strategies, which is really important.
Super important.
Super important. Yeah. So the next one I got about is like meal ideas and meal plans. Like, is this going to be like a meal plan? Will there be meal like ideas and stuff like that? And we're definitely going to give you like a kind of like a blueprint of what we think is really supportive for health and healing, and how to best support your mitochondria and how to best support your health. But it's not going to be like, eat this, like, it's not like a cookie cutter meal plan, but we give parameters and meal ideas. So you will have like different ideas for breakfast, different ideas for lunch, different ideas for dinner, and based on the season, what parameters do we focus on, and how does eating a winter diet versus eating a summer diet look different. So that's really the parameters that we give around meals. And I love this way of eating like so much. Like, it's just so fun.
I know.
To me. I don't know.
Oh, it is. It doesn't get boring.
Boring. And I love, like, it's just so easy. I love it. Like, and I recently had to go back to tracking, like, to remind myself of little habits. And sometimes we have to do that. Like, I had to remind myself in years. I think I had PSD from tracking from so long, counting calories and rows, and I didn't want to do it. And then I had to go back to it and just remind myself a little bit. And then as soon as I reminded myself of that, then it was better. And I was like, oh, that's what I was doing wrong. And then I kind of like, that's what I needed to work on. And then I totally fixed it. So it's just so interesting how we can like learn to be so much more in touch with our body by doing all of this and being like, yep, this is what I need to work on. So.
And that's the reality of it. I mean, so many of us, it's been ground into our heads. You just need to eat less, move more, exercise harder, do X diet harder. So I think, a lot of those signals have been, they're just kind of haywire. I mean, I had to do the same thing. I had to go back to tracking because I was under eating. And I know better, but I was eating really satiating food, and I was eating until I felt full, but it wasn't enough. And so going back to tracking for me just gave me really useful information. And I think it's that kind of, it helps you be able to look at your food and your portions and then look at the data and say, okay, this is how much I'm supposed to be eating. It just sort of gets that into your brain and makes it a little bit easier to hopefully get to a point of intuitive eating because that is sort of the goal, just to be able to eat and not be tracking every single little thing that you're eating. That's not very natural. But no. I do think that it's helpful for many people to do just periodic tracking, just to have the info.
That are the way to go now that I've did that. And it's so funny, like, because eating too little for your body can actually be really detrimental and can downregulate hormones and can downregulate your metabolism, right? And that's part of my story too. When I was doing all the chronic cardio, I was also eating a very low fat, low calorie diet, living on, probably 1,100, 1,200 calories a day. This is dangerous year after year. Your body does not have enough fuel, right? So now I think I had the opposite issue because I got so into eating all fats. I was like so excited about fats. So you had the under eating I tracked, and I was like, oh, maybe that stick of butter every day is a little too much.
Yes, fat is great. We need the fat, but at a certain point,
maybe not a stick of butter a day. You know, like it's so funny, like how and like you said, like that check-in is that good reminder. But then you want to like be able to, because that is another question I got about like make sure like do we count the macros? Are we going to teach you how to count macros? And if you need assistance on how to like do that, we can definitely give you a little bit of assistance and show you like how to figure out what your macros should be so you can check in and see if you're eating too much or eating too little. But also the goal is to not have to do that. So now I tracked for a little bit. Now I'm like, okay, I'm good now. I don't have to go back to do that. Like, don't eat the handful of nuts or the extra spoonfuls of butter as I'm cooking. We're eliminating that and I'll be good to go. Like, right. So it's kind of like learning your body and ebbing and flowing with the different seasons of life too is really important. Yeah. So another one I got was about like biohacking strategies. Are we going to teach you guys about biohacking strategies?
Oh, yes.
I know. So we do teach about cold therapy, red light therapy, sauna, but really the real biohack is nature, like living aligned with nature and like living in community with nature. And that's the real biohack. But we do go over cold therapy, red light therapy, and sauna, which, hey, I used 2 of them today. I went in the sauna and then I took a cold shower. So, I mean, they're really supportive, healthful. They're supportive for our bodies, and there's some nuance there for sure, about when it comes to hormone health and where your body's at. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, they're definitely something we will touch on in the program. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Let's see. What else do I have here? I think we covered most of the questions I got. Someone asking, well, what if I need extra help? Can I do one-on-one? And you can absolutely sign up with either of us for additional support. You will have access to our Telegram group. So you'll be able to ask questions there and connect with other people. But if you're someone who just really wants to have some one-on-one support, you can definitely arrange that with either one of us, and we're happy to help you.
Yeah, and we're happy to do it at more of a discounted rate, based on the fact that we've already done something, work with us, that we would help you and support you in that manner. So 100%, we can definitely work on that. I got one about like mood, anxiety, and depression. Can the program support that? And 100%. I mean, I just was reading the UV Advantage while I was sitting in the sauna, and it was just like, it's just that's a good book. It's really interesting, but yeah, 100% mood disorders, anxiety, depression, all of that is going to be supported by the work that we are doing, and supported, I mean, may not cure it 100%, but it's definitely going to be a supportive tool in your toolbox and can make a huge difference.
Well, and I found that it's one of those things that a lot of people feel a difference in pretty immediately. There's some things that can take a little bit longer. I mean, the longer you practice this lifestyle, the more benefit I feel like I receive. And I think most of the people I talk to are the same way. But one of the first things for me and some of the other people that I've worked with is they notice their mood, their sleep and their mood are some of the first things to improve. So I think it can feel really encouraging, and it just makes you want to keep going. And so
my case myself, I had chronic insomnia resolved. I had chronic pain that was especially worse at night. Amazingly different in my pain levels, and amazingly different I had severe depression as well. So to pretty severe degree. So all of those improved. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, and for me this winter, we had some pretty dreary days and lots of snow, and I felt a little seasonal depression coming on, which is not really normal for me. And I was like, okay, this just means I need to get out more. I need to spend a little bit more time, because it's overcast, but you're still getting the benefit of that full spectrum of light, but you may need to spend more time in it. Yeah. So I just made a point of spending more time outside, and it was like kind of magical. I felt better really, really quickly.
If I don't get outside too, like I don't feel depressed anymore, but I feel just kind of like it's more like it's just like an even keel, kind of like not my happy bubbly self. It's not like okay, maybe I need to go outside more, but I love to be outside like as much as I can, but the only thing that's down to me is days like this when it's raining and cold. But yeah, most of the time I'm out there. So Yeah, and then the other one I got is nervous system, because people are really wanting support with nervous system support. And I honestly think that one of the things that I definitely had as well was nervous system dysregulation. And I always say nature is the parasympathetic, and everything that we teach, circadian biology, all these practices and principles, really is supportive to the nervous system. Again, you might need some more supports to support that depending on the severity of this dysregulation that you have, but everybody knows when they sit outside in the grass and put their feet in the grass and they just orient and look around, that they feel less stressed and less, right, and have less nervous system dysregulation, feel more centered, right?
Right.
So each will absolutely support that as well. And we'll teach you about things that can, and mitigation strategies of things that can really dysregulate it, like artificial light, like non-native EMFs. These things are really dysregulating to the nervous system. So we will teach you how to mitigate those things, so you are, helping to balance that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then I got one about time for personal questions. Will there be time for questions? So what we'll have is each lesson, we'll have time for the lesson, and then there'll be time for questions at the end. So yeah, you'll have time to ask your questions about whatever the topic was. And yeah, we're more than happy to answer them, and we're more than happy to answer them through the Telegram app. And of course, if you need really, really more specific things, again, we have one-on-one coaching. So yeah, absolutely. And did you have anyone else?
No,
I got missed.
I think that was all of the questions I had that I received. So yeah.
The lesson, you get the recording. I had that, and yeah, and then of course, if you want, we have in the last live that we did, you can listen to that live, so you can check that live out. We did on the Hormone Metabolic Reset, and we also have one that's on my podcast, the Quantum Connection podcast, which is called the Hidden Truths About Hormone Harmony. So you can check that one out. And it's also on my YouTube channel, Bright Light Wellness. So it's kind of in a lot of places where you can find it. And we're going to put the lives out on the podcast as well. So you can find all this information there. And if you listen to this live or the last live anywhere, whether it's on YouTube or the podcast or whatever, we have a special discounted link code that we will send you. So just hit us up with a DM or, some sort of message, and we will give you the special discounted link code so you can get it at a better price, because you listen to this live, you listen to the other live, you listen to whatever, the podcast on YouTube, something, and we will give you that discounted rate. So, yeah.
I just want to thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, nice to chat. As always, Miley, I love chatting. And if you guys have any questions, let us know further.
Send us a message. Happy to answer any questions anytime.
Yeah, we love it. So yeah, we're just really looking forward to supporting you guys and helping you have living your best, healthiest life possible, and giving you these foundational lifestyle practices and principles that can really just make a huge difference. And we're passionate about it because they've supported us and many other people in our lives as well. So, yeah. Well, thanks for being here, guys. Anything else?
Hope you guys have a great day.
Okay.
All right, take care. Bye.